asked to speak about how to be a successful estate agent. Now, I think all of us know that the first question you must answer is, do you want to be a success? Once you've decided you want to be a successful estate agent, there are a few basic things that you should do and should remember. I think when you walk out here today, the first thing you must think about is, where am I going to work? It's very important to choose the correct estate agency. The best thing to do is to look for estate agency that are registered, that comply to the EAB standards, and make sure that they have valid FFCs. If they've got valid FFCs, you know that at least the EAB thinks that they are running correctly. It's always good to ask around about their ethics, just to make sure that they are estate agents that follow the code of conduct of the EAB. It's very easy for people to do the wrong thing, and you don't want to work at the estate agents that don't follow the right route. So make sure about that. Then there's a couple of basic things that an estate agent must have. I'm sure most of you do have the things that I will mention now, but if you don't, just think about it. First thing is a cell phone. It sounds basic, and most people have a cell phone, but for our industry, it's very important to have a cell phone. And more important, have airtime and data time. The worst thing you can do is to send a "please call me" to a client. So please remember that doesn't exist in our the next thing that are important is the next thing that's important is to actually have access to a computer. If you don't have your own computer or iPad or tablet or desktop, make sure you've got access to it, because our whole industry these days runs through computers.
Exactly. Say that again.
So please invest in a computer as soon as possible. Okay, the next thing is a vehicle. Now, if you don't have your own motor car, please make sure that you've got access to a motor car. I know not everybody can afford a car. I've been a principal now for 10 years, and since the beginning I had agents that didn't have vehicles. For the past 2 years I've had a company car, so 2 of my agents are using the company car, but before that they actually got around without a vehicle. And the one gentleman, 1 year was my top performing agent. He got the prize the end of the year for the top performing agent without a vehicle. So never say, I can't because I don't have this and this and this. You can. If you want to, you can, and you can make a plan. Okay, then just basic things that you must always remember is, if you want to be a success, you must have passion for the industry. If you don't have passion for the industry, you're not really going to try your best. So please, people, realize that this is your life, this is your future, and have the passion to do their best. You must be committed to your job. Somebody told me earlier that they did another job with a estate agency previously. It doesn't work these days. 10, 15 years ago, it worked. But these days, if you're not committed and you're not full-time, you actually can't be a success. You have to be committed to your job. Then something that our previous speaker also mentioned, punctuality. I can't stress it more that how important it is to, if you make an appointment for 1 o'clock with a client, you arrive 5 to 1. You don't arrive 10 past 1. It is very important for our own professionalism to be on time. If you've got a meeting at 10 o'clock, be at the meeting before 10 o'clock. Don't come an hour or half an hour later. With anybody, if it's a courtesy, it's a respect. Do you think if a client has to buy a house through you, and he had to wait for you for 20 minutes, that he will want to buy through you? No. So please remember to be on time for all appointments that you make. Then something that sounds like something everybody should know is that an estate agent must have a very high sense of responsibility. Remember, you make decisions and you help people to make a lifetime commitment financially in buying a house. They use all their life savings, and to do that they must trust you. They must know that you are responsible and that they can trust you with their investment. So you must have a vibe of responsibility around you, that people must know they can trust you with anything. Then one of the most important things for me is a hunger for knowledge, a hunger for training. And here in East London, the best way to get it is basically the Institute of Estate Agents of South Africa, border region, to have the full name there. We've got one of the best run institutes in the country here in East London. Our institute, we've got at the moment 10 directors, and they are all dedicated to the whole region, to really service the people. Nobody gets paid, everything's voluntary, but they really do their best to empower everybody in the region. The institute has the minimum of 4 property mornings per year, sometimes even more. And I want to ask the graduates, please, wherever you work, insist that you want to be a member of the institute, and make sure you attend all the training sessions that they offer. It's really, really important. And sometimes attorneys, attorney firms or the valuers have also extra training sessions. That need for you to learn, you must live out by attending any possible training session that comes your way. And that is how you're going to learn. Then something that people think is just common sense, but when you look around in the industry, you realize it isn't, is clothing. It is very important to wear professional clothes. You don't wear shorts, you don't wear slops, you don't wear revealing clothes. You must be professional at all times. Remember, we want to be called a profession, and we are being called a profession these days, but to be a profession, you must look professional as well. So please, people, be proud of how you look and make sure you look professional. Then you've got your job. Then you go into your first day. What will be the first thing you do? The first thing to do is to get as much as possible leads. Generating leads will be your first step. And it's very important to immediately start with a plan of how to get leads. I might duplicate things that the trainers have said at some time, but for me, the first thing that agents should do is actually set up an action activity plan. In that plan, make it a weekly plan. You have to put in, I'm going to canvass this day for 2 hours. I'm going to hand out pamphlets for 3 hours. I'm going to have a show house there. Put all your activities that you are planning to do on the activity plan so that you can measure yourself. Because if you can't measure yourself, you forget to do it. And at the end, a month later, you've done nothing. So please remember, form your own activity plan. Then something else that's very important is branding. Branding of yourself, not necessarily a company, branding of yourself. The companies, in my company, we're very strong on branding, but people tend to forget, but I am an estate agent and I actually want to sell myself. The company's there, they promoting the brand, but I want to brand myself, because the people must phone me, they mustn't phone my office. And a way to do it is what? Is to get a badge with your name on. You can brand your car. I don't know who saw my car outside, but it's difficult to miss, unfortunately, sometimes. If you don't want to brand your whole car, you can put a car magnet on with your name and the company that you work with logo on. In East London, we've got these street poles with people's faces on. That's another way of branding. You can have a dustbin with your face and telephone number on. That's another way of branding. Branding yourself. So the company can brand them, but you have to brand yourself as well. And then it's your normal advertising that goes through the company as well. Make sure you've got properties that you can advertise in places like the Property Junction. Then another important thing is network with other professionals. One way is through the Institute of Estate Agents functions. There you're going to network with your peers. But other places are BNI, BWA, Business Women's Association, a round table, if you've got church groups that you belong to. All those places are places where you're going to meet people, network with people, tell people you're an estate agent, and tell them, please, if you've got any leads, anybody that you know who want to sell, give your property to me, I'm an estate agent now. So networking is very important. The whole idea with all this branding and lead generation is to become top of mind. Now, top of mind is that if anybody decides to sell their house and they think, oh, I want to sell my house, who am I going to give it to? And your name must be the first name that pops up in their mind. And that must be your ultimate goal, our graduates. You want to become top of mind in the public's eyes, basically. Okay. Okay, then general things about communication. A lot of us get calls, we miss a call, we're busy with someone, we get emails, but do all of you get back to that client immediately? And that's something that I want to stress tremendously. It's something that I, in my office, sometimes struggle with, to get the agents to call back and respond immediately. It's one of the things that will make you different from the others, that will make you stand out, because not everybody does it. If you get an inquiry over Property 24, phone that person immediately. Don't wait a week or two. If you wait, you're going to lose. If you snooze, you lose. And that is the main thing to remember. If you don't come back to people, you are unprofessional, firstly, but the main thing is you're going to lose that client. And clients are valuable, so you don't want to lose them. Another thing, you mentioned communication things. Something that's the most important characteristic you can have is listening skills. We must learn to listen. If you listen to your clients, you can basically sell. You can sell anything to them because you will know exactly what they're looking for. I've sold numerous properties. First client, first person I take through, just because I know my clients. It's very important to listen to what your client is telling you and know what he's looking for so that you can sell to him. So if you have to sharpen up any communication skills, your listening skills are the most important ones to sharpen. Then after sales service and to keep in regular contact with people, it's things that you know, you must just remember to do. Remember what you're aiming to establish is permanent client loyalty. You want, if you sell a house to that client today, in 10 years' time when he sells that house, he must remember you and come back to you. Then you know you've done it right. Okay, then something that I think everybody realizes very important these days is technology. And it's very important to be up to date and to know all the new technological trends. Know what are the new laptops. Is there a new iPad out? What can the newest smartphone do? You don't need to own those things, but know about them. Know what they offer you. Apps. I've got a phone with, I think, 50 apps. People think I'm crazy, but I love apps because out of apps, I can better my service. There are wonderful apps, Avid Fly, where you can be with a client and actually work out the transfer duty and see exactly how much his repayments are going to be on a bond. Just in the palm of your hand, you've got all the answers immediately for a client. So find out what apps there are available that can actually help you in the industry and utilize them. Don't just know about them, utilize them. Then, again, a very important thing is web presence. Hopefully the agency that you will choose will have web presence. If not, push them. 16 years ago when I started working, I worked for a company that didn't have a website. Within the first 2 months, I organized someone to create a website, and I almost think we were the first agency in East London that had a website. And that's what you must do. If the agency hasn't got a website, organize, don't sit back, because it's negative for you if they don't have one. Assist them and help them to get going. Then social media presence. I want to say that it is important to have a social media presence, but you must have a responsible, professional social media presence. And I want to stress that, responsible, professional social media presence. It's one thing having a social media presence where Friday evening you were at a party and with a bride. I almost want to say, stay away from that. You're not going to put photos of things like that on your social media anymore. It's important to have a presence, but be very, very careful what you put on. If you want to utilize your social media for properties, also think how you're going to do it. Have a plan how you're going to actually work it. But these days it is important to actually have it. But do it wisely. Then lastly, your neighborhood. When you start working, the agency where you are going to start working must probably going to place you in a specific neighborhood. Now, you must become the neighborhood expert of that area. You must make sure you drive up and down those streets. You must know exactly where every address in that neighborhood is. You must know what amenities there are in that area. Is there a police station? Is there schools? You must know who the leaders of that community are. Who's the school principal? Who's the owner of the spa? Know the leaders and get to know them. Go there and introduce yourself. Say, I am the new agent from John Doe Properties. And so, get to know the people there. And also get to know your neighborhood trends. Trends as in the pricing of the properties. Is it a 200,000 area? Is it a 1 million area? Is it a 5 million area? Know the demographic capabilities of the people there. Is it old people, younger people, middle-aged people? Who stays in that area? And then also what is quite important is to start a farm book. I'm sure you know what a farm book is. It's you can basically get out of the publications that are advertised, keep all the properties that are available in your area in the farm book, and you can, after a while, see the trend. You can see that this property's been in the market for 5 months, and then it disappeared, and then you can do a Lightstone search and see that this property sold for 500,000, less than what it started to be advertised in. And that way your own knowledge about your area is going to enlarge, and you will be able to become the expert that you say you are. Okay, and then lastly I just want to end with the words of Robin Aiken-Smith, and according to him, success comes when we convert our dreams into goals and pursue them with passion. Now to all the new graduates, I just want to please say, make sure that you pursue your real estate goals with a lot of passion. Good luck.